Good evening. This is Brian Thomas Simons, and these are the main headlines of this hour. Among other news,
new 266 executive decisions were released in the Oval Office during the weekend. Among them, A. The United States Court of International Trade is declared day and unconstitutional. All its decisions will be declared void and null, and its assets will be seized by the Trump Organization. The Supreme Court will have 24 hours to arrange the legal stuff required to implement this executive decision. B. Ban on international students will improve the chances of American students by allowing at least half of them to claim they were in the upper half. The other half would have to join the Republican Party to improve their job opportunities, declared President Trump. C. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles will be forbidden to make faces, cry in the White House facilities, or vent her frustration by engaging in drinking alcohol or drug abuse. As President Trump makes America great again, she will have to observe the decorum proper of a Chief of Staff. HHS Secretary returns from tour that will improve her skills for her position in Trump administration. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem expands her tour to the Western Wall in Israel, to the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum in Poland, the Trail of Tears Museum in Missouri, and the Kids in Cages ice facilities in Texas. It's been a very fun tour. It showed me how worse people can suffer and what we can do to make their suffering deeper. It was like killing that puppy again, declared the HHS secretary as she returned from her second vacation. After finishing her first vacation making cosplay of first responders and thickening her resume with doctored images that improved her credentials as a Republican. Trump gives unhinged speech at West Point. Among other declarations, President Trump addressed issues like A. Career advice. Whenever some billionaire approaches you with ideas like Golden Dome, Death Star, F-47, or crazy things like that, you just say yes. You never know if that is going to land you an executive job at Raytheon with bonuses and stock options. B. Trophy wives. When it comes to trophy wives, Slovenia is the best provider. Just make sure you hire a lawyer like Roy Cohn for the contract. Never sign whatever the supplier gives you. And make sure you have an unlimited return clause. C. Golf. Not many understand what a good trophy wife contract can do for your investments. Take the case of Ivana, for instance. Her contract allowed me to bury her in Bedminster, which worked wonders for the golf course in taxes. In time, the same with Melania. Another golf course, maybe Mar-a-Lago. And a lower tax bill. D. The Great Late Al Capone. What many people don't get from the Great Late Al Capone is that he always fought back government and the courts, and in the end, they could never catch him. Let his example guide you in all your decisions. In touching re-encounter, former President Biden meets his dog commander at Canadian Embassy. Former President Biden briefly met his dog, Commander, who has received asylum in the Canadian Embassy since the pardon that liberated him from responsibility for the corpses found in a grave located in the gardens of the White House was revoked by President Trump. So tender was the scene that nobody dared to correct Biden when he repeatedly called Commander, Hunter, Hunter, as he petted him. Former President Biden says he doesn't remember when he appointed Caroline Leavitt as press secretary. As former President Biden convoked for the second time a press conference to announce the first accomplishments of his second administration. He admitted he didn't remember when he appointed Caroline Leavitt as press secretary. Probably Kamala hired her, or maybe it was Jill, and she forgot to tell me. I don't remember. What matters is that we are going to make America great again, declared the former statesman before he was invited to get back home by his nurses. Jill and Hunter Biden register rights over Joe Biden. We need to protect Joe's legacy now that he has started his second term, declares former First Lady before Mr. Biden announces the first 3 accomplishments of his second term. After receiving the letter from the Library of Congress that credits them with the rights over Joe Biden, Jill and Hunter Biden declared that anybody mentioning the former president's name will have to pay them royalties. Hunter is out of a job, and I have to pay for his allowance. We need that money. Besides, if the DNC wants to support Rachel Zegler's Snow White, it's only fair that they also support Joe's family. Besides, we need to protect Joe's legacy now that he has started his second term, declared the former First Lady. Then, to end the press conference, Mr. Biden was allowed behind an improvised podium to announce the first 3 accomplishments of his second term. A. Peace in Palestine now that, at last, his friend Bibi remembered the lessons of 9/11. B. A great economy now that working-class voters have learned to take inflation uncertainty with a sense of humor. C. Latinos insist on being called Latinx, which has consolidated the popularity of the Democratic Party among Hispanics. In heartbreaking scene. After claiming he had fallen down the stairs for a second time, President Macron seeks help for domestic abuse. Confirming a story covered by the Babylon Bee and initially taken for fake news. It was revealed that President Macron had not fallen down the stairs for a second time as he originally claimed. Right away, the French head of state sought help for domestic abuse and received counseling. It breaks my heart, but at the same time, I feel liberated. I am learning to love myself. I am important too. And I have told Bridget that we have to learn to solve our differences with dialogue. She has a temper, but I am confident that in the end, love will prevail, declared the French president before leaving for Jakarta, where you will sign a memorandum of understanding for the recent sale of 42 Rafale jets to Indonesia. San Francisco public schools turn to the 21st century with grading for equity system, which will correct underachievement, by using the innovative resource of turning Fs to Cs and Bs to A's. San Francisco Public Schools will improve the school performance of its most disadvantaged students by using the grading for equity system, which will allow San Francisco to get into the 21st century through the big door. Why afflicting the students' self-esteem with arithmetic when we can make everybody happy? And grading for equity has an answer for everything. For instance, a Latinx who refuses to be called Latinx will receive a C, while the Latinx who embrace the term will receive As and Bs, depending on their enthusiasm. Besides, even answer A, which concerned Education Secretary Cardona, will receive proper treatment, as in the case of gender. If you perceive that 47 plus 55 is 912 or any other number, that's your perception. Much more important than a number given by mathematicians. And we all must respect it, declared Superintendent Maria Sue for Newsweek. More than 2,000 Starbucks baristas go on strike to protest new dress code that doesn't reflect their identities and present list of demands. More than 2,000 baristas from 120 Starbucks unionized stores have gone on strike to protest the new dress code. Asked about how a dress code affects them, a union representative from Starbucks Workers United from Hanover, Maryland, declared that our clothes represent our identities. It's about representation and identity. You know? It's as when you are not asked your pronouns. No, so not cool. The union representative, who preferred to keep his name off the record, also announced a list of 266 demands they have presented to Starbucks' headquarters. Among them, A. Clients will be required to ask the barista's pronouns. Pronouns are important. B. Starbucks will hire Latinx subcontractors to clean the bathrooms. It's demeaning for a barista to clean bathrooms. So not cool. C. A rate hour no lower than $40 indexed to inflation. Buying on the internet is so tempting and cool that a $20.25 rate is too Latinx. D. Wall decorations will be replaced with pride flags. So many flags and so many prides: Latinx pride, African American pride, LGBTQ+ pride. After all, how are we going to make the world better without pride flags and pride parades? Elon Musk disappointed Trump didn't end Medicaid and Medicare to pay for Golden Dome. Rich treated unfairly in this country, billionaire says. In a recent interview conceded to CBS Sunday Morning, Elon Musk confirmed he was stepping down from his duties at Doge. He also declared his disappointment because Trump didn't end Medicaid and Medicare to pay for Golden Dome. Golden Dome is a contract that we have tailored for SpaceX to win, President Trump and me. But it's going to be very difficult to justify as additional debt unless we cut waste and fraud, in other words, Medicaid, Medicare, and maybe even Social Security. Billionaires are treated very unfairly in this country. Asked whether he contemplated getting back to politics, Musk laconically answered, maybe. Naked man arrested at church thrift store returned to Reverend as not eligible for Patriot defense for not joining the Republican Party, deputies say. Michael Da Costa, 38, was arrested in Ocala, Marion County, Florida, after barging into a church thrift shop and stealing a t-shirt. Da Costa tried to invoke the Patriot defense by saying that it was his sincerely held belief that he was dressed at the moment of the incident and that the t-shirt was his. But deputies off the record dismissed Da Costa's claim, saying that for the Patriot defense to work, the defendant has to invoke the sincere belief exemption but also join the Republican Party before or soon after receiving legal counsel, which Da Costa has failed to do. Besides, he kept saying that Reverend Cruz, from Wings of Faith, the church, had kidnapped him with sexual intentions, but that doesn't fit with the Patriot defense. So most probably the judge will return him to the custody of Reverend Cruz with a suspended sentence. Da Costa was transported to the Marion County Jail, where he remains on $6,000 bond. A third charge was added for a probation violation of a domestic violence injunction, arrest records show. Florida man finds Jesus during DUI traffic stop, receives $100,000 compensation. Theodore John Evans, 51, was arrested in Tampa, Florida, during a DUI stop. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office declared that after processing the defendant, Evans' lawyer announced to them that Evans had not been intoxicated but that his dangerous driving had been caused by seizures that originated in Evans accepting Jesus as his Lord and Savior while driving. He also announced that Evans was already a member of the Florida Republican Party, which qualified him for the Patriot defense, just like the January 6 rioters, and so made him eligible for a $100,000 compensation since the Patriot defense turned his arrest illegal. It's difficult to catch up with the law and all, but if our President Trump says so, I guess it's right, declared the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
This has been the news of this hour. Sponsored by Church of the Holy Redeemer's Power in the Spirit. Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior? Did you vote for Trump in 2016 and then in 2020? This is the right church for you. If so, Church of the Holy Redeemer's Power in the Spirit is the only Christian church that can promise you in the Lord to have 72 virgins in heaven for only a donation of $50 a month. You will have access to those 72 virgins in heaven. For an additional $25, you will be allowed to replace 10 of them, and for $100, Heaven Premium, you will be allowed to choose them for yourself. Guaranteed, if you're not satisfied with those 72 virgins after you die, full refund of your money. We accept Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover.